Hey gamers, welcome to my game room. AJ from Rolling With Roc here, continuing our special Kingdomino week with part 2, Roc Reviews, Queendomino, designed by Bruno Cathala and published by Blue Orange Games. Before we get started, if you're enjoying Kingdomino week or any of the other board game content I've created on Rolling With Roc, please go ahead and give the channel a subscribe, like this video, and share it with other board game enthusiasts so that they can find my channel and help me grow. I'm very close to reaching a personal goal of 100 subscribers, and I would like to achieve that very soon, and I can only do that with your help. So thank you very much. Now I hope you've already watched my video on Kingdomino that came out. If you're sitting there going, I liked Kingdomino, however, I wish there was more to do, then Queendomino is the game for you. Queendomino is a standalone expansion to Kingdomino. What that means is that you can just own Queendomino. You don't even have to own Kingdomino. And you can play Queendomino as is. Or you can take your Kingdomino and your Queendomino and put them together and create a master version of the game, which they call the Royal Wedding. Queendomino is still 2 to 4 players, but because there are more things to do in Queendomino, the box time is listed at 25 minutes, whereas Kingdomino, the box time was listed at 15. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and bring you down to the table. I will show you how to set up, show you how to play, and then when we're done, we'll come back up here. I'll explain my thoughts on the game, and of course, give it our rating for the review. With Queendomino down on the table, the setup is a little different from Kingdomino. You do start with tiles down on the table like this, but instead of a Kingdomino, when you're playing a 3-player game, you still have all 4 tiles out instead of 3. Each player gets 1 king of their color choice, their corresponding castle, and a tile of the matching color. It says you only need 1. I always put the second king inside the castle for fun. Each player will get 7 coins. And each player will get 1 knight. We put the queen, this is a queen meeple, over here to the side of the board. And then you take the dragon and put him in the dragon's den. You take building tiles and put them along the 6 spaces here. And then you put the rest of the stack right there. You make piles of knights, money, and towers, and you are ready to play the game. Take each player's corresponding meeple, shuffle them up, draw them out in an order, and that'll be the order that we select our first tiles. So we go ahead and flip over our first set of tiles, and you can see a difference between Kingdomino and Queendomino. We now have these red town tiles, and that is where we will be building our buildings from the builder's board. To build in the builder's board, from the builder's board, you must have one of these already in your kingdom. And they provide more knights. They provide towers, which is how you get the queen, and they provide additional scoring opportunities. So red is going to go ahead and get this crown, because that's actually the only thing out there right now that has a crown. White thinks that the buildings look very nice, so they're going to go there, and purple will go here. And that is our first turn action selection. This tile then just immediately gets discarded. We bring out 4 new tiles, And you always put these in numerical order. So we have 26, 36, 43, and 45. And we will flip those over. And this begins the first turn of the game. Red, the first action red must do is take their tile and add it somewhere to their board. They leave their knight to the side. They don't immediately take another tile because they have additional actions outside to do versus what we had in Kingdomino. The first thing that they can do is they can take their knight and put it in one of their territories to collect tax. You get 1 coin per territory in your kingdom that matches in that same row. So if right now they would put it here or here, they would only get 1 coin. If they were able to get more wheat fields down the line, they could get more. So it's probably not going to make sense to put a knight down on your first turn in your game. The next option to do would be to construct a building. However, the red player does not have any town spaces to construct a building. The next action is to bribe the dragon. For 1 coin, the red player can pay the dragon and burn one of these buildings down. It would be taken off the board and the other players would not have access to it. You do burn one of your coins, but you make it harder for your opponents to get something they may want. So like the red player could pay 1 coin to the bank and burn this tile for one that would have cost somebody 1 coin. I'll show you. It had a tower on it and it had a crown. So what that means is that they can start having crowns in their town spaces on their buildings, but when they place this, they would get a tower on that tile, and that attracts the queen. And I'll explain what she does. The queen, so we burn that tile. The queen makes it so that she is 1 extra crown in your biggest territory. And I'll show you that at the end of the game. So red did that. They used the dragon. The dragon went there. The dragon can only be used once per round. Then they finally choose a new territory, and they already have a mountain tile, so they will take the 3 crown mountain tile. And then we just continue. So purple takes theirs, and they're going to put their tile like that. They set it to the side. They have the option to do tax, which they will not do. They have the option to construct a building, because they do have a town. And they, for this case, will take the 5-point town. It's just 5 victory points, which you can see right here in the bottom corner. 5 victory points at the end of the game for having that in their city. But they have to pay 2 coin. They cannot use the dragon because red already did. So now they must choose a new tile. And they have forest and town. So nothing's great there. They're going to just take the first one. And now white takes theirs. We'll set it there. They could tax right now and get 2 coin, which isn't amazing, but it's decent. They choose not to tax with their knight. They will construct a building, and they're just going to get this free one, which will earn them victory points per territory at the end of the game. But right now, it gets them 1 knight and 1 tower. We put that tower right on top, and now the queen chills over here with the white player. At the end of their turn, the white player goes ahead and chooses a new tile. That one gets discarded. These 3 move over, and we get 4 new tiles. we have 30, 40, 42, and 48. And now play will continue around like that. Just like in Kingdomino, you are trying to make a 5x5 grid. Your castle is not required to be in the center, just like in Kingdomino. And these buildings, we will reset this board. The dragon goes back. These all move down. And these fill in. Alright, so I jumped ahead a couple of turns because I wanted to show you a couple of different actions. The first thing we have to do, of course, is flip our tiles so that the players know what they could be going for. And now it is red player's turn. So they're going to go ahead and take this, and it does not go well with their territory. So for now, we're just going to throw it up here. But now they decide that they want to tax to earn some money. They can play 1 or 2 knights onto their board at each turn to acquire tax. They have 3 territories in the mountains there, and they put down 2 knights. That gets them 6 coins. So they can get 6 coins, just like that. The next thing they want to do is they have an open town tile. So they want to buy a building. They are going to buy, for 1 coin, they're going to buy the 1 space coin building, which gives them 1 knight and 1 tower, as well as points at the end of the game. So they're going to take that tower, put it right here, and take that knight and put it over here. Now what this just did was it gave them 2 towers, and the white player also had 2 towers. The queen moves to a different player immediately when that player ties for having the most towers. So she was over here because this player had 1 and then had 2 first. But when red player also acquired 2, the queen moved to red player. So we've jumped forward again to the end of the game where each player has a 5x5 grid, and now we do scoring. So the way you score this is first you count up your coins, and for every 3 coins you have, that is worth 1 victory point. Then, just like in Kingdomino, you score your territories, the number of tiles times the number of crowns in each territory. So up here on the white player's board, they have a 5-tile wheat field with 2 crowns. That would be worth 10 points. So you do that for every territory that you have that has crowns in it. If you have no crowns in a territory, like this single water space or that one up there, you get no points. Then you can also do your town tiles. So your town and building spaces all count as a territory as well if it's connected. And only some of the buildings have a crown. So if you're lucky enough to have gotten a crown, you will get points from all these tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points from that. So you take your coin points and your territory points, and then you do the points from your buildings. Most buildings have some sort of point value. This one gives you 1 point per tower. So I have 2 towers, I'll get 2 points from that. Some of them just flat out give you points. As you can see with the purple player, they took all buildings that just gave them points. Very easy. So they got 5, 10, 15 points just from those buildings. And then some buildings give you points per separate territories of a certain terrain. In this case, this one was for forest. Well, I have 1 forest territory there and a second one right there. So I would get 4 points, 2 for each territory. You go ahead, you add up all those points. Oh, and the person with the queen, I forgot about that, with the person with the queen, gets to place the queen where they want to for an extra crown, which it's always advised to put it where you have the most points already. So here, red player puts the queen in their mountain. They already had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crowns in 3 tiles of mountain. Now they have 6 crowns with the queen. 3 times 6 is 18 points just from those 3 tiles. And then you go ahead, you add up all of your points, and the player with the most points wins Queendomino. Another thing I wanted to point out with Queendomino is if you also have Kingdomino, you can put both versions together to play what they call the Royal Wedding variation. There's actually 3 different game modes that you can play with this. The first is you can continue to play 3 to 4 players, but build a 7x7 grid, just like you would if you were playing the 2-player version of either Kingdomino or Queendomino. The next version is you can actually play a 5 or 6-player game, building 5x5 grids. So now with King and Queendomino, you can have as a 5 or 6-player game. And the final thing is you can actually play up to 6 to 8 players in 2-player teams in a team variation. So that gives you multiple different ways to be able to play King and Queen Domino. And finally, before we come up from the table, I just wanted to show you, just like in Kingdomino, on Queendomino, on the very back of the rulebook, they have all of the spread of tiles. So it shows you all the regular terrains, as well as all the different buildings that can come up in Queendomino. So that's all for down on the table. We're going to go ahead, come back up. I'll give you my thoughts on the game and give this our rating. Now that we're back up off the table, it's time for my final thoughts on Queendomino. I enjoyed the mechanisms that Queendomino brings to the table as opposed to Kingdomino, especially the town and building tiles. The queen is a nice little touch, and the knights and towers are fun. The dragon is okay for us, but my game group doesn't use a lot of mechanisms like that, so we usually let the dragon go so that everybody can build and do their own thing. We're very opposed to confrontation most of the time, so we're not going to use the dragon in case somebody else did want that building for later. Queendomino is a perfect option for those gamers who want more from their Kingdomino experience. I'm not going to get too in-depth on the comparisons between Kingdomino and Queendomino, as I'm going to save that for the end of my Kingdomino Age of Giants review when I compare all of the versions together. However, because you're doing more, it's a higher level of teaching and playing than with Kingdomino. And so while many gamers will prefer Queendomino to Kingdomino, I actually prefer King for the ease of play and getting it to the table. I can play Kingdomino with all gamers and even new players who have never played for the first time. While I could do that with Queendomino as well, it will take some extra teaching to teach the extra mechanisms involved with Queendomino. And the Kingdomino is quicker. So most of the time, my game group and myself are going to pull Kingdomino off the shelf more often than Queendomino. But as you can see, I do own both versions because I believe they both have their place in a collection. With all that said, it's now time for me to give my Roc rating for Queendomino, and Rolling with Roc gives Queendomino a Ultra Ball rating. I do think that Queendomino is still an amazing game. I still think that gamers should have Queendomino in their collection. Like I said, it does fit a slightly different niche than Kingdomino, so I think it's perfectly fine to have both games in your collection, and I do enjoy playing both King and Queendomino. It's just I'm slightly more likely to pull Kingdomino off my shelf depending on who we are playing with. And with that, thank you for watching part 2 of my Kingdomino Week coverage here on Rolling with Roc, reviewing Queendomino. The next episode, I will be covering the Kingdomino and Queendomino expansion, Age of Giants. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this channel a subscribe. Once again, it does greatly help me, as does likes on this video. Please share it with your friends so that they can also find more board game content creators. And leave me a comment down below if you prefer Kingdomino or Queendomino. Also leave a comment if there's any other board game series you would like to see reviewed in this style, where I cover one game's multiple versions over the course of a week. Thank you once again for joining me. I hope you're all staying safe, healthy, and are well. Until next time, this was AJ and Rolling with Roc.